Before we even begin with the review, I think we should take some time to listen to this intro. Do you hear that? That is some amazing stuff. That is how you know you're about to play a good fucking game. Hello everybody, King Face here, your favorite face man turned king, and today we're going to be looking at a game that has been consuming most, if not all, of my time. That game is Elona Plus, a roguelike that I just recently discovered that has came out in the year 2007. But how does the game run? And what do you have in store for you? When do you start it up? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you today. This is King's View, Elona, Edition symbol. When you first begin the game, you're prompted to give an alias, something that attaches to your name. These can be something badass as in Night Destroyer, Killer of Men, evil badass motherfucker looking guy. Or they could be silly, like Rainbow Dreams, or Wrong Friendship, or Mastermind of Children. Which, I guess that sounds more creepy than silly. But I went with something more accurate to myself. I went with Virgin of Prophecy. This game is unique in the case that it has the generic races, but it also comes with a variety of unique races to this game alone. You can play things like fairies, liches, and even a snail. And they have such classes as the Claymore, which is a magic dealer guy, the Farmer, who is very good at farming, pianist, and my favorite class, the Tourist. Might I recommend that you never in your life play a snail tourist. You will not have a good time in this game. Afterwards, you're asked to roll stats. If you played D&D, you'd be very familiar with this. It's literally just rolling dice to choose what you get, and based on the class and race you chose, some classes will be granted more dice. You'll have the lack in too, so if you get a really high roll, you can kinda cheat the system. My only plight with character creation is the fact that no matter what race, gender, or class you choose, your character will always look the same. The clothing doesn't really matter that much either. So, even if you're playing a fairy female, you may make your character look like a generic male character. Other than that, it's pretty good. I enjoy the character creation. But how exactly does the game play, and what is the story? Well, I won't be talking too much about the story, but when you first begin the game, after the character creation, you find yourself trapped into a cave after a long boat ride. The game has a bit of a tutorial here, but it won't help. The best thing to do is to look up the controls and figure things out on your own, or look up a review, maybe even a guide on the wiki. You're gonna end up doing it sooner or later. This is your average roguelike. It's about delving into a dungeon, and if you fail, you bet your ass you better start over at level 1. The bright side is that when you die, you still keep your character, stats and all. The downside is that you will lose a substantial amount of gold, as well as a few items that may or may not have been important. And going from level 15 all the way back to level 1 could be a bit frustrating. But most of the dungeons, for the most part, are permanent dungeons and are not randomly generated. But the first one you enter will be, not for story purposes, but more for grinding purposes. And this is a grinder. This is a game in which you have to prep yourself up in order to face that final dungeon, in order to finally face it, in order to make it to the last floor of that dungeon. The story here does not really matter too much. It is all about making it down to that dungeon, enjoying yourself while doing so, and making the strongest character you can. Turning that snail tourist into an awesome snail badass tourist. And that is honestly the funnest thing ever. This game has new mechanics that have never been seen in a roguelike before, and that's something that dominates me. That's the reason why it takes so long. You actually have to learn and read spell books. And reading spell books is no easy task. You may teleport somewhere. You can read a spell book even if you are something like a level 10 wizard or even level 20, and it will drain your mana. And what happens when your mana drains is start taking out of your HP. I've just been in a dungeon, read a spellbook, and died. There are other crazy things that happen when you read spellbooks. This game is forgiving by roguelite standards, but if you haven't played a roguelite before, you may think that this game is very unforgiving. I will say that. Like I said before, it's all about the new mechanics that they add. Ether wind. Every 3 months, you want to make sure that you're near a town so that you don't get caught out in the natural disaster. That, again, is story related, but I honestly, the story is a bit too long. Didn't read generic dungeon crawly, so it doesn't really matter here. But back to the ether winds. These things are crazy. They give you mutations anywhere from a big head that reduces stats to hooves that increase your speed but makes it so that you can no longer wear shoes. They are terrifying, and every 3 months you're going to be wanting to get into a shelter. Otherwise, you find yourself with 3 dicks and 2 heads. And I know that's way too many dicks for the amount of heads that I got right now. So I'm not liking it. I like to keep my dick to head ratio 1 to 2. You know what I'm saying? But that's Elona. The goal of that game is to power up, get to floor 47, defeat the big bad, and sleep with prostitutes in order to increase your charisma. What about Elona Plus? Well, story's also a bit lackluster there. Something about the winds regrowing and you having to come back to a new land to start your adventure all over again, but you'll be doing the same thing there that you have been doing here. And I think that's the main meat of this game and why I love it so much. You know what you'll be doing in the game. Most of the times you'll be doing quests, and there are various amounts of quests. Most of the times you'll be doing dungeon delving, and there are various amounts of dungeons. But those are so fun. Like just walking around in the dungeon and shooting lightning at everyone, or even doing an escort mission, or playing the piano and getting a rock thrown at your head. Heck, becoming impregnated by an alien, all these things make the game fun because they're challenging. You have to worry about what happens to your character. Otherwise, you might have to do a lot to get him out of that situation. Mutations are not very easy to heal off. Dying and getting your stuff back can take a very long time, and every now and again, if you actually do too many quests, you start becoming too much of a good person, the game punishes you for that. Taxes begin to increase. Freaking more bandits will come after you and start robbing you. People will raise prices because they know who you are. This is an unforgiving world, and a fun one at that. You know what? I went on a rant. Didn't even know where I was. But I'm gonna say that this is a time consuming 10 out of 10 amazing simplicity. Just simple as fun nuggets, and I didn't want to say fuck right there because I curse way too much, but goddamn is this a simple, fun, lovable game. Go out and get it. I'm gonna give this game 10 out of 10 if I believed in ratings because honestly I mean good is subjective. I'm gonna say this game is great, and I am awesome. So if I say something is great, you know it's good. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. I like doing reviews. I'll be here all week. Oh shoot! Looks like it's time for another outro. See, I love doing outros. They're like my favorite thing. I can just rant on and it adds time to the video. Look, I bet you I could do a 4-minute outro and I'm about to do one right now. You know what? I had a pretty good day today. You know, I did stuff and I keep saying because I'm thinking about stuff to put to extend the video length. I'm practicing for when I can monetize my stuff. How do you guys think I'm doing? It doesn't matter. Like, comment, subscribe. Ah, you guys ever see that one movie about the guy? I have. It's pretty good.